and welcome to the episode of DIOTALK. I'm Neil. Let's talk. My guest of the evening has a tremendous business. He is the founder of Climb Club. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Jeremy Laduke. There you
Yeah,
go.
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on here with you.
Thank you, man. It's exciting to talk to you. I've been watching some of your content, some of your you've been as a guest in some podcasts, your website, some social media content, and what you're doing is incredible. I say that coherently is incredible.
I really appreciate that.
I don't know, man. Where do I start? So I'll just give you the floor and let you begin.
Yeah, so we've got two things going. Kind of one is
Okay.
our main. We've got a main marketing agency called Epic Nine that I started it 11 years ago, and it evolved from when I started. It was just me, right? Just typical, entrepreneur story. You start, you're good at something, and then you kind of just grow it from there. And so when I started, a lot of the business that I got was kind of local places, whether a local restaurant, retail stores, boutique type of things, service businesses, home service businesses. So I was doing a lot of business with folks that were smaller, right? But as my company grew, as the economy changed, as technology changed, we we had to evolve. And for us to stay in business, we had to kind of go after larger clients because it made less and less sense for someone to come to us and pay us if they were didn't have a big budget, right? Because we had to make enough to keep us
Yeah.
surviving, and also we wanted, if they were going to come to us, we didn't want to give them subpar work. So for us to do the quality of work that we wanted to give people, we had to raise our prices. So long story short, we evolved. Our business now focuses kind of on that $5 million a year and up in revenue client. But our heart has always been, like everybody on my team, myself especially, our heart's always been with local entrepreneurs that are just getting their start, right? So people who are in that under $1 million a year revenue mark, because after that, the dynamics of your business start changing pretty rapidly. So, but if you're under that mark, it's it makes a less sense for you to come to an agency or pay someone to do your marketing for you. You really need to know how to do it on your own and have the tools and the equipment and the know-how to navigate that on your own. And so that's how Climb Club was born. We said, all right, what can we do to help the people that are community, where you can find resources. So we've got video courses on just marketing in general, email marketing, social media stuff. We've got DIY how-to guides on things like how to set up your Google Analytics and how to do all these things. Stuff that if you're a business, if you love baking, right,
Yeah.
and you want to become a baker and you open up a bakery, but you don't really know all the technical stuff, right? Facebook or TikTok is about as technical as you get. Like you need some resources to help you do all the things to help you uh, make your marketing efficient and effective. And so that's really where Climb Club comes in. It's like come in here, get all the tools you need, but then the icing on the cake, I think, it's actually the real core value of Climb Club is the community. So I think when you first come in, it might be that icing on the cake, but after you're in there for a while, it really becomes the best thing about it. It's been able to meet with other entrepreneurs, other business owners every week, or as often as you can. You don't necessarily have to do it every week, but there's a mastermind every week where you can come, you can get advice, you can give advice, and just help kind of push each other up that mountain, right? And help each other along the climb.
Wow. You mentioned something very important when an entrepreneur is first starting its business, right? That breaking point and where your business is showing you it's time for growth
Mhm.
is you either make it or break it.
Yeah.
At what year was that for you? Because you've been doing it for 11 years. And what year, like, was it on your fifth year, sixth year, because businesses, you know, the statistic of businesses, like it takes 3 to 5 years to, depending on what industry you're in, 3 to 5. What was that year for you, and how was like, what was that defining moment for you and your team?
Yes, I would say we've grown pretty consistently from year one. But I would say the way when we really figured out what sort of model we needed to take on,
Hmm.
that was really about it was somewhere around 4 years ago. I can't think of
Wow.
a specific day,
Yeah.
but we were pretty far in, right? So that would have been 5 6 years
Yeah.
into or six or 7 years into the thing. I'll say this. I'll preface that with I had no knowledge of running a business before I started. I was just it was the only thing I could do to survive, right? So I'd worked in a completely different career. It was nonprofit ministry, and I'd always done web design and graphic design on the side.
Oh, cool.
And so when I decided to change careers, I really had no marketable skills other than these things that I had done kind of unofficially, but I loved to do. And so when I jumped out and started my own, I was just dumb enough to try, right? I was like, I think I can do this,
Yeah.
and I always joke, a little bit of entrepreneurship is just ignorance, right? So you gotta be dumb enough to jump out there,
Experimenting.
yeah. And so so when I did that, I had no formal knowledge of how businesses operate, how to do accounting, or all of these things that you need to have to really make your job a lot easier, right? Luckily now, like entrepreneur centers I think have become really popular in our culture.
Yes.
About 5 years ago, helped start one. So we call it Sky City Entrepreneur Center. It's here in our town.
Nice.
And it's really built out to help entrepreneurs get the tools they need so they don't make stupid mistakes. And I made a ton of stupid mistakes. In I've still probably make some every once in a while, but
But that's normal. That's the game, you know. Like you
yeah,
live, you
yeah,
learn, and
yeah.
you're always being educated yourself.
But there are some that like if I had a mentor, if I had some sort of education that was easily accessible, I could have avoided those mistakes and grown faster, I believe. But I think a lot of people are in that position of you don't know what you don't know, and so when you jump out and want to do it, you're just running on passion and willpower, and you're gonna make it happen. And so those first several years of the business were a lot of that. It was a lot of learning, it was a lot of fumbling around, a lot of figuring things out. I'd say every industry is probably different. That they've all got their own unique quirks. Marketing is one of those where, man, like I can go to the grocery store and throw a rock and hit probably five people in the grocery store at the same time as me that are marketers, right? Because there's a certain point where anybody with a computer can be a marketer, right?
Yeah.
You're decent at social media. You all of a sudden you're a marketer, and so it's what we've seen in our community is we have a lot of people kind of pop up. They're a marketer for a year. They start their marketing business and then they're
Yes.
gone, right?
Yes.
And so part of it is just trying to outlast those folks,
Yes.
because they're getting business from you, and you really what I had to figure out is how do we carve out a space for us that we can do better than anybody else, right? That we can really just put our stake in the ground and do it really well. And so when we started, again, we were doing websites, social media, even a little bit of video, and it got to the point where, all right, to do this well and to be able to spend the amount of time we need to do it well, we've got to figure out our who our ideal clients are. And that was when we had a really hard discussion that said, the our best clients are typically folks that have enough budget where it's not,
Right.
they're not in survival mode, right? We have a lot of people that have come to us in the past, and they've got a little bit of cash, and they're throwing, they're betting the farm that, this social media is going to work, or this video
Right.
that they're going to do is going to work. And that's not a good fit for anybody, right? That there's no marketing agency that's going to be able to take your last chunk of change and turn your business around. So we figured out that our best ideal clients are going to be those that have those the budget that they can sustain. And so what we started doing was shifting how we qualify clients, how we onboard them. And so about 5 years ago, we started shifting from giving people free consultations at the very beginning to doing paid consultations. And that was like a night and day difference where we realized we had people coming to us getting free advice, really, right? So we would tell them, okay, hey, you need to do this with your brand. You need to be thinking about this with your website. And we would spend, a couple hours with them going through all these things. And then we would say, and here's our proposal, to help you do these things. And it would have the price. But what they would do is they would take that proposal and then just go down the street to the to
Hmm.
the
They
person
give
that
you
can do
all
it
the
for
work.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would get them to do it, right? So or we would give them the ideas and they would do it on their own. And we would never get paid. And so the thing that we started doing, we started out $99. We said, all right, we're gonna just try this out. Let's see if we can charge people for this consultation. And so we started doing $99, and we call it our base camp consultation because everything about Epic Nine and Climb Club is all kind of
Hmm.
mountaineering, climbing related. So we called it the base camp consultation, and we figure out what's the best route and what are the right tools you need to get up to your summit. And so we started out at $99, and people paid it. And the interesting thing though that happened, we didn't change anything about it, right? We were doing the same thing before when it was free, and then we'd start doing the same thing after and charging $99. But the amount of people that said yes when we gave them that proposal, it was a drastic difference because, and this is a little bit of just a little nugget of behavioral psychology that hopefully your audience can put into practice. People value what they pay for.
Hmm.
If they're
Preach.
getting it for free, if they're getting it for free, they don't value it. And so when we were giving them stuff for free, they would say, "Oh, that's good. That's good information," but they weren't really thinking it was worth paying for because they hadn't paid for it. But the minute you put a price tag on it and they hand over some cash, they say, "Oh, this thing that you just gave me is very valuable," right? And so we started doing that 5 years ago. Now we charge close to 2,000 for that same thing.
Jeez.
Yeah. So we were
I mean,
we
but
were
it's
building.
work in progress, right? That's how you know
Yeah.
the level, like the level you're in, like
Yeah.
how valuable your work is now. Before it
Well, and
wasn't,
and
go ahead,
it,
yeah.
it's it, you know it's testing the market, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm sure you've probably got people out there listening that they're giving away something for free right now, or they're
Yeah.
underselling themselves. Because I think what we tend to do is we think, okay, this thing's not too hard for me, so it's not worth that much. But in the reality is, you as a business owner, you should charge whatever the market can bear. That's how you thrive.
Amen to
Otherwise, you're
that.
just gonna that's
Yes.
otherwise you're just gonna be surviving. And sometimes trying to figure out what the market can bear is it's an experiment. And so we played around, right? We said, all right, let's try this. Let's try putting a bigger price tag on this. And so we just kind of gradually just kind of we were like, hey, people are still buying. Let's push it up some more. People are still buying. And so what was once a loss leader, we weren't making any money on that $99 thing. That it was just a better tool to get people to say yes, right? But what was once a loss leader is now a source of good, profitable revenue. And so experiment with it, see what the market can bear, and charge that. And don't be afraid of
Yeah.
raising your prices. But I would anybody that's listening that is giving something away for free or for super cheap, don't be afraid to just put a price tag on it. The worst they can say is no, right?
You know what I
So
found fascinating is that when it was free, it was a struggle to sell your services But once you put a price on it, everything just came organically.
Yeah.
That's crazy
Yeah.
because, a couple of years back, I want to say pre, 2010 maybe, right? Everything was free, everything was valuable, right? Get constant information, whatever you try to do. And now we live in an age and we're like, there's free things out there that work, but because you don't know better, right? You misvalue that. But then you have someone like your business, and we're like, you from the get go, you had the potential, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna change the game now. Now I'm gonna charge you because I've wasted your time assisting. It gets
Yeah.
frustrating as a business owner. Sometimes bills gotta get paid.
Yeah.
Your team has to get paid. So you have to almost become, okay, fuck it. This is what we're gonna do now. Strategize, change the game. Now you pay me for my time. Because one thing that I've seen with entrepreneurs is that they they yet have they yet have developed the skill of managing their time, which is crazy important.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I'd say one of the most frustrating things, like looking back on it, is looking at all that time I spent not getting paid and just giving that
Dude.
away for free. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, man, I could be a lot richer right now if
Yeah.
I done that.
But you
But
live
I
and you
also
learn,
say
man.
this. I also say this. So if you're just start, if you're just starting out, you don't really have a portfolio behind you of work that you've done or clients you've worked with, and you're doing something like that, start start charging something. But I would be cognizant of the context, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't have a name and don't have a reputation, you're probably going to have to start out lower. Like we couldn't have, 5 years ago, we couldn't have come out of the gate saying, "Pay us two thousand
Credibility.
dollars and do it." It wouldn't have taken on. So I think you've got to be aware
Yeah.
of the situation you're in and what you're capable of. But dang it, like charge what the market can bear. Otherwise, you're losing money that you could have. You're losing opportunity and money that
Right.
that otherwise could be coming to you.
I would say credibility, right? A lot of individuals, right, want to start their business and want to get out there, and they want to start charging 200, 300 to even $500, and their business has no credit, no credibility. Nobody knows what you're capable of. Nobody knows your reputation, which is super important because, like, for me, like, podcast 4 years, right? I started a Google page and we're Google business, right? As everybody has it. And I started having people, hey, if you really like the show, any guests I have had, just, leave me a review, how it goes. It's highly important for a business to start building their reputation because if you don't, then how will the people know how good you are? That's very important.
Yeah. I 100% agree, especially if you're in some sort of like a B2B service consultation type of thing.
Yeah.
It's yeah, you've got to build that up. But I would guess that most people who are coming out of the gates, they're still undervaluing what they do. So don't be afraid of charging a little bit more than what you're charging now. But yeah, sometimes you have to do the pro bono things, right? Like find a good nonprofit in your community and give them something. Like if you do tax services, right, and you want to start out and you're a tax professional, find a nonprofit to work with that needs that help, and so that you're building a network of people that are going to rave about you, right? And two, you're able then to put that logo on your website. Say, I helped out the so
Yeah.
and so nonprofit, and put that on your website. But then I would say this, and this is something I didn't learn till just a handful few years ago, is send them an invoice. But mark it as paid. Let them know the value of what you're giving them, right? So if your tax service is worth
Yes.
$1,500 a year, send them an invoice with a credit that just says donate or in-kind donation, so that one, you can have that for your taxes, but two, they understand the value of what you're giving. Otherwise, they have no way to know what you're actually providing them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, there's like you said before, like there's a ton of people who are coming up, starting their business, doing marketing. And, like I think that's a great idea. Just go out there, ask who needs it, because a business, like there's two things for a business to really succeed: income, or funding, and marketing. Those are the two major things that will have a business boom and continue going up, or fail. A lot of these entrepreneurs, they're investing their money in things like for example, you have I know a lot of people who started their clothing line, so they'll have a good return in profit, but do not vest that return in advertising to get more.
Mhm.
So when it's time to push those items out there, nobody really knows. And you can't support just the community around you. A lot of people that tend to support you and invest in your business as an entrepreneur, it's outside of your bubble.
Yeah, totally 100% agree. I think your marketing and advertising budget's often the it's the last thing that you start in the last the last thing that you start and the first thing that you stop, right? And
Hmm.
it's backwards. Especially like if the economy starts to dip, you don't want to be that business that pulled back 100% on your marketing. You might have to pull back a little,
Hmm.
but everybody else, that's the norm, right? Everybody else is going to pull back on their marketing. But if you can be one of those companies that continues and steadily markets and advertises, it's proof like they've got study upon study showing this that it's proven you come out of that dip a lot stronger than the people who completely pulled back because let's say the economy goes into a recession for a year. If you're finding some way to stay in front of the eyeballs of your customers when it comes back and they've got more money to spend, you're going to be top of mind, right? Your
Hmm.
competitors are going to all be playing catch up because they stopped, right? But if you stay top of mind during the lull, then you are going to it's going to cost you a lot less to get back to where you want to be than it will your competitors may have gone out of business by then, right? And but you're able to keep it going.
Yeah. What I love about your website, if whoever's listening to this or watching it, you go to climbsclub.com. And what I love about the website is so simple and so informative. Like it's you don't have to continue open it windows or nothing like that. It's straightforward. You keep scrolling, all the information that you need, it's right there.
Yeah, we just try to make it extremely simple. I hate going to especially going to landing pages where you scroll and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll and you scroll and
Yeah.
it's just it's a word salad half for pages. Try to keep it super simple and get to the point. Like if you've got 4 hours or more a month that you can devote to your marketing, Climb Club can pay off for you, right?
Yeah.
If you're time strapped and you don't have any time, then it's not going to be worth the investment right now. But if you've got about 4 hours where you can invest in learning the things, but also implementing the things and being a part of the community, then it will help you take off. Like we've only been going for a couple of months now, and we've already got success stories of people that are taking what they're learning and taking the ideas that come from those masterminds and implementing them, and they're seeing growth. Right, they're getting new customers, they're getting new clients, and so that's like that just it blows my mind one that we're able to do that
Yeah.
and build this thing, but it's just super exciting to see. And so I would say if you're an entrepreneur out there that's trying to get a grapple on your marketing, come try it out. We've got a month free trial, so there's no risk. And if it's not for you, I would love to hear your feedback. Love to hear how we can make it better. But if it's not for you, there's no obligation.
What are some things they can find in your mastermind class?
I'll give you an example. So one success story was is a person. She has an elder care business. So she works with people who have like aging parents or spouses that are getting older and maybe need some in-home care or medical assistance, or their lifestyle is just changing, right? And they've got to figure out, do we need to get moved to a one level house, that sort of stuff. So she works with them, and she was having some trouble like really getting her name out and finding business, right? So one of the ideas that came up in a mastermind was, hey, why don't you go speak at some of the local civic groups like Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Lions Club, those sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's her target audience. That most of those clubs have an older membership, and they're always looking for speakers, right? Are you familiar with kind of how those clubs operate?
Here and there.
So, and this may be different in different communities, but
Mm-hmm.
down here in Tennessee, typically what that looks like is they have weekly or monthly meetings where you get people usually who are of the gray-haired variety
Mm-hmm.
into a group. They're usually having lunch. They usually have some sort of lunch at like a restaurant or somewhere, and they typically raise money for a cause. But they also have speakers that come in and just say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing in your community." Sometimes it's business people, sometimes it's nonprofits, but it's really a way for people to just have a network of friends and business associates, and also learn about what's happening in the community. So it's a great opportunity for someone in her position to go and present and say, "Hey, I'm a business person here locally. This is what I do. If you're interested in my services, let's talk." And so, just after doing that for a few weeks, she picked up two new clients. And so,
Oh wow.
those are the sort of things that I love to see happen. Are ideas that you may not have on your own, but the minute someone else recommends it, it flips a switch, and you're like, "Holy smokes, that's a great idea." And that's not going to be something that you're going to like just read in a book. It's not going to be something you see on a blog. Sometimes it's an idea that someone that you've shared your story with says they just see it from a different angle and say, "Hey, what about this?" And sometimes it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Highly important when you like it's so important to be in a community to with different backgrounds to help you develop like in just in business because you see other people see things that you don't see, right? And we're like I've never heard of your idea of sending them an invoice, put it donation or credit. Like that's to me that's fascinating, and that's something many entrepreneurs could do. Just because an entrepreneur never, the most I know, never have a niche. They're just trying to see whatever works, whatever fits, whatever makes them happy, and if they everything checks out their happiness or what they like, they go for it. So that's highly important, man. That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking as you're talking that invoice idea, you could even do that with if you I don't recommend it, but if you happen to like do a favor for a friend or something as you're getting going, right? And said, "Hey, I need to add some things to my portfolio. Can I do this for you?" Right? Send them an invoice and but with instead of in-kind donation, just mark it out and say, thanks for being a friend. This is free, just so they understand the value of it.
Yeah.
And again, if when we do something, we have this curse of knowledge. We know what goes into it, and we think everybody else should understand that. But I think probably more in the tech world than other sectors, people think tech stuff is super easy, right? Like, hey, can
Hmm.
you can you design a website? It's just you just push a button right there, and
Hmm.
it's now
Hmm.
with ChatGPT is messing it all up, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, can you do this thing? AI can probably do it.
Yeah. Write me a
Um,
code and boom.
yeah, and so I think in the minds of some of our customers, um, our value is getting diminished, and so we have to educate people on this. This is a craft. It's a or whatever you're doing, whether it's a business service or even whether it's a home service. Educate them on the value of what it is, because otherwise they might not know it.
Yeah. In your experience, how even like I'm not sure it's even a factor, but like how important for you is it doing business face to face rather than, now evolving. Everything is digital, everything is Zoom. Like for me, like my wife, she's had success in real estate. She's a real estate agent, right? And she doesn't do the interface. She doesn't do the Zoom like
Mm.
what the world
Hmm.
has slowly become. She's had major success when like you put in front of somebody face to face, she starts talking, she'll more likely either sell something or get a client. Like
Yeah.
you started fairly in 2011, you said, right? Like
Hmm.
how like
2014. Yeah.
14, my apologies.
You're right.
How important is that to you, or is that even a factor?
I would say 95% of the business that we've had has been people that we've met person.
Wow.
And that's the nature of our business. Other B2B businesses might not experience that, but uh, the reality is if you're a medium sized business or a small business and you want to work with an agency, you you can pick up the phone and call five of them that are within a 20-minute drive from your business probably. So the idea of working with someone that is not local for that sort of stuff isn't it's not like, even though we would do work with like regional and
Yeah.
national companies, but it's not like just going to Amazon and buying something and have it shipped to your door.
Yeah.
It's the sales process is a lot different, and so you don't people when they're looking for what we offer don't necessarily want to work with somebody in the distance,
Yeah.
right? They want that as person to person as they can get. They want that relationship, and so 95% of the business that we've built over the years has been relationship based.
That's
We
amazing.
go to a ton of chamber networking events. So at one point, we were members of 7 of our local chambers. We were trying to grow into another area, and we said, it's not we don't want to do that. So uh, it was too much work, and we weren't really getting anything out of it, and so we pulled back. But right now, we're members of about 5 of our surrounding chambers, and we try to go to as many networking events that they have, because that's where you meet other business people. So if
Yeah.
you're in the B2B world, you better be
That's a
going to your
must.
yeah, you better be going to your chamber of commerce networkings. We've tried like BNIs and other uh, things that are similar. Those have never really worked out for
Yeah.
for our industry. But if you're
Yeah.
like a real estate agent or an insurance agent, those can do really well.
Yeah.
I would say if you're a B2C business, those chamber opportunities could still be pretty profitable for you, right? Because the people that come to chamber events, they know a lot more people than your average Joe, right? So the people that are coming to those networking events are connected to a lot of people, and they talk to a lot of people. So if you start a lawn mowing business, let's say, coming to those events and getting your name out there, you're gonna find clients there, but you're also gonna find people that they're gonna refer you to. They're gonna say, "Oh,
Yes.
hey, my brother's been looking for a landscape guy. Let me take your card." And it's that relationship thing. And so I would encourage you, if you're B2B, you're dumb for not going to your chamber. Like, go to your chamber of commerce. Like, it's usually a pretty low investment, and you get a lot out of it. If you're B2C, still it could be a good option for you.
Man, you speak volumes of truth, man, because before I entered this realm, I used to be an operation manager, and even in the pandemic, when they forced me to do like video calls, I always would show on the property, inspect it, because they need that safety, they need that connection, they need that you're not just somebody on a screen I'm looking at. They want to feel safe, they want trust, and I think in the many years you've been in your business, I think just hearing your story, it's been tremendous.
Yeah, that is really kind of how I got built the foundation of Epic Nine and now
Yeah,
Climb Club. Was I had experienced the Chamber of Commerce here locally, and I'll say this: our local Chamber of Commerce here in Blount County is fantastic. I think we got one of the best ones in the state. Um, but every chamber is a little different, right?
Yeah.
Some are going to be better, some are going to be worse. We're lucky enough to have like some just Blount County is great, but all the surrounding chambers that
Yeah.
we work with are great as well. But I realized pretty early on like that it's you pay the entry price, right? It's usually
Hmm.
like 250, $300, something like that for the year.
Yeah.
So you think about that, it's 20 or $30 a month. But when you enter that room and you get to shake hands with 50 to 100 people that could possibly be customers or clients of yours, like if you're an entrepreneur, that needs to light you up and that
Yeah.
needs to
Yeah.
to make you. I mean, you need to see dollar signs,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to boil it down to a transactional thing, but
There's
that's
opportunities.
those are your opportunities. Like
Yeah.
that's the people you need to be doing business with, and so why wouldn't you be there?
Yeah.
And so do it. Just take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah. One thing I wanna set the difference, right? Because it's very important. You have these like me looking at hearing your experience, looking at your what you put out there to the world as a business so they can see in the digital world, right? It's totally different than when you have somebody reaching out. Hey, you want me to create your logo? Hey, you want me to promote you? Like, so social media marketing, as they call it, or managing, which they try to include both of them together. Like, it's like what you're doing is high quality level stuff. And I need to, for my audience and my viewers, I need to set that difference because not everybody's doing like there's a difference to somebody just trying to hustle and make money, and somebody actually build a career,
Yeah.
build reputation, build a longevity of business that's going to help you put your business out there more to be seen.
You've hit on it, and that's really why I recommend if you until you have a budget of $2,000 or $3,000 a month to spend on your
Yeah.
marketing, you're best off just doing it on your own. Because, and I know there's probably some folks out there listening that are gonna get mad at me for saying this, but it's what we've run into time and time again. The chance of you finding something, a service worth paying for in marketing for 250 or $500 is so slim. Like we've talked to business after business that they went and had this random person do their social media marketing and it's garbage, right? It's nothing is really helping their brand. They're not getting any engagement or getting any views. Now we've got to deal with people just shoveling AI stuff into
Yeah,
social
our
media.
throats, our social media, everywhere you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and so but they come to us and they say, well, I've been paying this person 250 $500, and it really is a case of you get what you pay for, right? If that person is not able to come on site with you, take pictures, take videos, craft some stories online, it's not worth paying for. And the chance of you finding somebody that can do that really well for 250 or $500 is extremely small. Now, every once in a while, there's a hidden treasure out there. There's a gem, a diamond in the rough, right? And you find somebody that they just do great work, right? Here's the how that story goes. They will be able to do great work for you that for that price, but they'll soon realize that they can charge more. And so at some point, their business is going to grow, and they're going to have to start charging more to sustain them, to sustain the growth of their business. And so again, it might work for a little bit, but it's probably not going to be a long term
Yeah.
partner for you. And so being able to get the tools and get the strategy that you need to do your marketing on your own until you can get to that $2,000 or $3,000 mark is what we've seen as the best opportunity for you.
Now, when you and you, this is one of my last questions right before we go. Now, when you meet with a client, do you present them a strategy or do you, sit, collect data on what's best for their, right? For me, like I put myself an example, like I've been approached to try to market the show, right? Because I'm
Mhm.
at a stage in where I'm evolving it to a show rather than just a podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast is just a platform. People want to hear audio, but I what what I like the most is the video quality. I like the interface. I like
Yeah.
to talk to somebody in their face, see their features. I don't like to feel like I'm talking to a wall, basic, right? So
Yeah.
I've been approached so many times and how, people want to market it. But like they're showing me what they think. They're showing me or what they want. And usually it's a template, it's a Dan template that almost 9 out of 10 uh, social media or marketers have already. And nobody has really sat down with me or want to talk to me and say, hey, what would you how would you want, what's your ideas, like how would you want to be marketed, right? And I think with you and your experience, I think that's what the people need, somebody who will be there for them and hear them out and hear that they have a vision, and it's like having a therapist but for marketing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the best, that I'm just rambling. That's the best I can come up with.
I think you're onto something. So one of the things that we emphasize a lot with our clients is your branding, right? And not just your logo, but really who are you as it? What's the personality of your business? And what we've seen, and this is backed up by the Ehrenberg Bass Institute is it's a I don't know if it's not really a school.
Mhm.
It's really kind of a institute's
Institute.
probably the best word.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they are funded by some of the biggest companies in the world. But their job is to figure out what works and what doesn't with advertising and marketing. And they've done some incredible studies where they found out that they found what actually drives growth, whether you're a small business, whether you're a large business. They've got a book called How Brands Grow. Is a must read. It gets a little technical and there's a lot of graphs and charts in
Yeah.
it, but if you can stick with it through that, it's totally worth the read. But one of the things they found is that distinct brands, uh, things that look different, they sound different, they have a different personality, they grow faster than brands that all kind of look the same. One of my favorite examples of this is Liquid Death. Are you familiar
No, never
with
heard of
Liquid
it.
Death? Okay, so they're a water company, right? So you imagine you go into any gas station in America and
Mhm.
you go to the water state, the water bottled water cooler. Describe the typical bottle that you see? What color? What's the label look like?
It's usually clear, white or green label.
Yeah,
One of these, like the Walmart ones,
yeah,
or
those. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they usually have a picture of water because, who knows
it's
who knows
water.
what's in
Yeah,
this clear bottle. It
yeah,
might not be water. So let's put a picture of water on the label, right? They usually, sometimes they'll have like a deer or something on them. So there's all these things and they all look the same. You just get this wall of blue and white and green and it's all uniform.
yeah.
So Liquid Death came along. They put their water in a can, right? So that's a little different on the front end. They put their water in a can. They called it Liquid Death. The logo is a skull. And so when you go to the gas station and you open the cooler, that one sticks out beyond all the others. And it's not. You might hear that story and you think, oh, that's just a gimmick. Well, they've in a very short amount of time, they entered a saturated market, no pun intended, right?
Mhm.
There's 1,000 different water bottle brands out there. They entered a saturated market, and they are now valued at close to $1 billion.
Wow.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
branding alone
yeah. And here's the thing: there's nothing extraordinary about their water. It tastes like it comes from a can. It's not
is
great.
water. Yeah.
Yeah, it's water. So it's not that their product is differentiated. It's that their branding has been very distinct. And
Not your
distinct brand.
common branding image, right?
Yeah. And it stands out. And what happens a lot of times when businesses start is that they know how to do their craft, right? If they've got if they're going into a business, they know how to do the thing that they're good at. They don't necessarily know about marketing and branding, and so the easy thing to do is just to look at what everybody else is doing and say, "Oh, hey, let's make my brand like that." And so if you're a heating and air company, what does that look like? If you went this route, you probably have a logo that maybe has some orange and some blue in it, right? You've got a flame and maybe a
Hmm.
snowflake. And you might even be like Johnson's HVAC, or if you're an insurance or real estate even, you may have went with your name, like Jones Insurance, something that looks and sounds like everybody else because
Yeah.
that feels safe, right? It's worked for these people, it should work for me, and it might, right? You're not going to kill your business because of that, but you're not going to grow as fast as you could either. And so brands that play it a little risky with their branding and kind of go outside the norm, they stand out a lot better and a lot faster than everybody else that's playing it safe. So we're down here in Tennessee, and we have the Smoky Mountains, right? I've got
Yeah.
a Smoky Mountain picture back here. What we see a lot is businesses pop up and they're Smoky Mountain this and Smoky Mountain this
Oh,
and
okay.
foothills this and foothills that. And it just, if you were to pick up like an old school yellow pages, you would probably have, 10 or 20 pages of Smoky Mountain businesses because they're all this in the same
Yeah,
category.
they're attached to whatever it's I guess big and famous in that area
Yeah.
per se.
And that's fine if you're the only one doing it, right? But when everybody else is doing it, it's hard for the customer to tell you apart. And so the other side of that is a lot of the logos have mountains in them. So like you probably half of the logos in our surrounding area have mountains in them. It's nuts.
Yeah.
But what happens is that they all just kind of look the same. However, if you can be that liquid death brand and stand out, you're going to catch people's attention a lot more. One example locally here is a brand. They're a HVAC brand, and they started using a abominable snowman as their mascot, and so they put this abominable snowman on everything, right? And so like I'm driving down the road and I see a billboard and I see that abominable snowman, like I know immediately, like that's that company, and those sort of things work. They help you stand out. And so if you're in kind of a boring business, I would say don't be afraid of being a little risky and standing out with your brand.
Oh, there you have, it, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy, it's been an honor speaking with you, man. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your information. It's been an honor. Before we
I
go,
appreciate it. No, it's
hey,
been a great time with you.
yeah, man, we have to do this again anytime. You're welcome here. Before we go, please tell the people where they can find your stuff, your website,
So
social media, anything.
yeah, so I would really encourage anybody that's out there that's trying to figure out their marketing, go to theclimbclub.com. Again, free month trial. Would love to have you a part of the community and just see what you think. Also, wrote a book called Climb. Again, we
What?
went pretty hard. We went pretty hardcore with the
Oh
climbing stuff.
man,
So wrote a
I
book.
apologize.
Yeah, no. Wrote a book called Climb, and you can get that on Amazon. So if you search for Climb by Jeremy Laduke, you can find it on Amazon. But I really encourage people to go to bookshop.org because that supports local booksellers. And so hey, if you have to, if you've got an Amazon gift card that you need to use that money, go buy it on Amazon. But if you want to support local sellers, go to bookshop.org. And it's climb, it's got orange, it's got a mountain on it.
Right there in the
So
back of you, I see
yeah,
it.
right there, yeah. And so you can actually find links to everything on theclimb.guide. So theclimbclub.com, theclimb.guide. We'll love to hopefully see some people in the community and hopefully some people can check out the book.
Boom. Before we go, can you tell us a little bit about the book? Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to end this and not talk about your book.
Yeah, so it's really kind of a DIY manual for local businesses to do marketing on their own or to at least have the language to talk about. So if you're going to a marketing agency, it's a great tool so that you can know what questions to ask and what to do. So you get a lot of DIY stuff like that every chapter, but you also get a story of a woman who has to She takes over her father. Her father's not doing good health wise. She takes over the business, and because of his health, he's kind of let it slide. And she's got to recover the business, and so she goes through this journey of marketing and branding and getting involved in the community and all these things. And so you get to see how some of these nuts and bolts tactics get played out in the real world. And so you get a little bit of fiction and a lot of nonfiction.
Boom. Best way to learn marketing information, because as you go, you can remember a chapter, and in this chapter I had this, and I learned this, and this. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And where can we find it once again?
So actually the climbclub.com, you can join the Climb Club. There's also a link to the book on there, or you can go to theclimb.guide.
Boom. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to go get the book today. Make sure to show him some support. Go follow him. Go check his website out, and reach out. Go check out his masterclass. I highly recommend it. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, Mr.Dreams5obtain. Go like and subscribe our YouTube channel, DIOTALK TV. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. I'm out.